up, y'all? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Peace, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. It's Friday. I didn't even realize it was Friday. Yesterday, I thought it was Wednesday, and I kept saying at work, it's Wednesday, and nobody corrected me. I was like, they're probably thinking this lady is crazy. Wet my whistle. All right. So let's talk about the Real Housewives of Miami, the last reunion episode 3. So we'll probably get to girls trip this weekend. I'll do it one day this weekend, and we'll get that up for y'all. I watched all the episodes last night and took very light notes. I actually do not want to turn this into some over analyzed, thing. I really want to have fun with girls trip and talk about it as we normally talk about it, but I just want to make sure that it is we keep it more lighthearted. So I'm not really taking too many notes. I'm hopefully just going to remember, and we can just chat about the episode and just have a good time sitting around talking about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. I know it's going to get, heavy, and I know, people are going to have conflict, but we don't have to get heavy. We don't have to get heavy. We don't have to, we just don't have to do all the things. Okay. So I just want to let you know how the vibe is going to be over there. It's Thailand. It's beautiful. It is so beautiful. And it's just like, let's just try to have a good time. Okay. All right. So Real Housewives of Miami. Reunion part 3. It was an okay episode. Let's talk about it. So Kiki, we start off where we left off with Kiki telling Lisa that she knows people who have been with Lenny, and Andy asked her, how does that feel? And she was like, I have always had a feeling, but she said that the thing about being blindsided or in denial. She says, like when you're in relationship with someone, you really overlook things, and you don't pay attention. You're not paying attention, or you ignore things. And at the end of the day, I think part of the reason why she ignored it was because of the lifestyle. Honestly, I feel like that. I feel like she's just like, whatever, like, and then I think I don't know, how would you guys feel if Lisa said, I ignored it because of the lifestyle? How would y'all feel? Would y'all feel like, damn, or would you feel like, okay, I get it? Like, how would you feel if she just came out and was like, girl, I knew he was acting a fool out here. I ignored it because look at my house. Look at my car. Look at how I live. Like, girl, whatever. What if she said that? What would y'all say? Right. Um, she said all of their fights would start from those parties they would have. And she felt like those parties were like basically like a place for him to like pick and choose who he wants to fool with or whatever. And then he would flip it around on her and tell her, you're just being insecure. You don't have to worry about that. You're being insecure. And then Marisol was like, that's what narcissists do. Like, flip it. They literally flip it around on you. Like, why are you saying that? You sound crazy for saying stuff like that. You're just being insecure. Don't worry about stuff, stuff like that. And, she's right. And Adriana was like, I agree. Um, Uncomfortable. Would you guys be uncomfortable with the men, with your husbands and partners coming to these parties? And, several of them are like, yeah. Alexia says she went with Todd. I think this last one, Adriana says Lenny did not want them in there, probably because they would be like watching him, I guess. And then, but they said, yeah, we're not comfortable with our men being there. And she said she just should have paid more attention. But it's like, I'm paying attention for what? What am I paying attention for? Like, I wish Lisa would have said, I wish Lisa would have said, girl, I was ignoring him. I was ignoring it until, you know, it just came to a head, you know? And now he finally said he wants a divorce. So, girl, whatever. Um, so they asked, how have the other women been in your life? How have they, you know, helped you through this time or whatever? How supportive have they been? She's like, they've been very, very supportive. They all have been very supportive. Especially, you know, when she first announced it, they were so mad. Gertie was mad. Everybody was mad. Nicole was like, don't leave the house. Get you a lawyer. Do you need to retain a lawyer? Like, what do we need to do? Like, we not playing these games. You know, calling the lawyer, the one that Nicole threw the black card on, calling him so that he can answer questions she might have or whatever. So she said, yeah, they've been very supportive of her. They talked about how they speak Spanish, Spanglish, and it actually comes up in Thailand where Giselle is insecure about Marisol and Alexia speaking Spanish around her because her daughters do it and she doesn't understand what they're saying. So she's insecure and she thinks that they're talking about her. And every single time they were speaking in Spanish, they were just not talking about her. But it was funny because they put subtitles as if they were, but like making it seem like, you know, she's delusional, like the way, you know, the way they did the effects on the screen. You don't get to tell, I'm sorry, I saw it was on the neighborhood talk. You don't get to tell people that they can't speak their native tongue around you. That is so fucking weird. And it comes from a colonized mind. How dare you tell me that I can't speak my native tongue around you? You're going to get a grip on your insecurities and you're going to be quiet because it's none of your business. And if I'm talking about you, I think it was Portia. It was either Portia or Candace who was like, girl, let them speak. We'll see the subtitles when the damn show airs. If she's talking about you, you'll see it. Ain't nobody talking about you. You're not the word on the street, okay? You're not the palabra en la calle, okay? Okay. Bitch. The fuck? I did not like that. I did not like, and I see people in the comments like they shouldn't be speaking Spanish around them. Girl, shut the fuck up. Just because y'all don't speak another language, don't tell other people not to speak their native language. I think that is so rude. I think that is absolutely rude. And it's very insecure. Now that's insecure. So they talked about marrying Gringos, right? Steve and Todd with Alexia and Marisol. And Alexia and Marisol both said that their relatives, their parents, would tell them they wanted them to marry white men. Alexia said, I think it was her mother told her that's the reason why your relationships don't work out, because you didn't marry a white man. And then Marisol said her grandfather, was it her grandfather? He used to say, why don't you just marry you an American football player or something like that? So they both got a Steve and a Todd. I mean, they both got a Gringo. They all do, actually. Gertie does, and so does Nicole. And yeah, that's it. Yeah. Larsa has her green bro. Green bro. Did Todd and Anthony make up? Now that was the episode that I did not review when they got into it at the Gringo dinner. And Anthony was being sarcastic. He was being sarcastic. He was like, I'm going to send them some flowers and chocolate. He was like, and Todd was like, why would you send a grown man some? He was like, why would you send a grown man some flowers and some chocolate? Because he was trying to be funny. But they did end up sending him something and apologizing to the lawyer. She says, we saw them at some event, and Anthony, and then she goes, this is Alexia. She was like, and you know, Andy, and then she was like, I mean, Anthony. She was like, but Antonia, because that's how he was acting. And then Nicole was just sitting there and she was going like this. Like, yeah, I said it. Like every single time. That's what I'm saying. Alexia be like, yeah, I said it. Like, what you gonna say back? And it's like you could really just lay her out if you wanted to, but it's like is it worth it? And Nicole was just sitting there like, she called her husband Antonia. And Antonio was being a chick. He was disrespecting us. He says that they are the only ones on the show with real jobs. And she says that they were funny or something. Oh, that things that they were saying about Larsa was funny when he said Larsa doesn't see past her big butt, her natural big butt. Girl, give me a break. Larsa is such a liar. It's a trip. And she kept saying Anthony is a bitch. Anthony is a bitch. That's what Larsa kept saying. They asked Larsa about her braids. Is it cultural appropriation? And Larsa was like, no, my kids get braids. I wear braids all the time. If I'm going out of town, I'm going to wear braids. I feel like whoever did your braids, the hair did not match. That's why it looks like you don't know. Like if you get braids all the time, then you would know, or the person who's doing your hair, the braid technician, I don't know what they call them, but the braid technician should tell you, get this kind of hair. It probably slip out, right? So you get another grade of hair and it just looks out of place. You look like you have all of these, like, I don't know. It just looks like you have all of these pieces of straw hanging from your head. Like you look like the scarecrow. You look crazy and it doesn't look right. So if you've been getting braids all your life, get your natural hair braided. If you want to get the grade of your hair, get it, whatever hair they put in, you was looking crazy. And that's why I was looking off. They did show Larsa from like old pictures, not in this episode, but they have showed Larsa like on vacation, looked like she was on vacation, and she had braids. So yeah, I think people do that. I don't think it's cultural appropriation, braiding hair. All cultures braid hair, you know what I'm saying? So and braiding hair comes from a long time ago. Larsa was like, I'm not white. Okay, Larsa said, I'm not white. She said, I'm what, Lebanese and Moroccan. My mother's from Morocco. I think that's what she said the last time somebody asked her about her braids. My mother's from Morocco. Then they asked about the witchcraft in the Bahamas. So they talked about Mama Elsa a little bit, right? And then Marisol said she felt her mother in Thailand. So did they go to Thailand and then come back and film this reunion? Did they film Thailand and then come back for the reunion? Because she said, I heard, y'all let me know. I didn't even bother to rewind it, but I heard Marisol say she felt her mother in Thailand, and then she had a moment in Thailand where they were talking about her mother and how beautiful she was. Mama Elsa was a bad bitch. Let me tell you something. She was. She said, let me not talk about Ultimate Girls Trip. That was a very touching moment. I was crying because I love Mama Elsa. But you know that lady, she was going to hit her with her pocketbook. I live for Mama Elsa. But she said she felt Mama Elsa in Thailand. That's what I thought. But anyways, so she said, her mother was very spiritual, very spiritual people. And they showed Mama Elsa going around asking the girl at Marisol's job, do you want to get married? And she said yes, and she threw rice at her. Oh God, Mama Elsa! If y'all need to go back and watch the old episodes of Miami, because Mama Elsa was a hoot. Okay, but what Marisol told the story about her on Ultimate Girls Trip was very touching, very touching. So they said, the witchcraft in the Bahamas or whatever. And why did you throw the stones away that Julia gave you? And she was like, Julia, I don't think, I'm like, you coming from you, I don't ever think you would ever put any bad juju on me or anything like that. And then Adriana's sitting in her chair like this, and she goes, why would you say me? And she goes, you're Brazilian. I was like, bitch. She was like, they don't play that. She was like, well, why would I do that to you? You know what I'm saying? So she was like, no. And she was like, and then he asked Kiki, when Kiki was when they did that release, when they were standing at the ocean and Kiki was yelling, she was letting out. She was like, anytime I get a chance to let out anything that is negative or negative energy, I take the opportunity. I do it because Kiki was on the beach yelling. She was yelling. She was like, I'm a solo parent. I have 2 children. I'm a model. Sometimes I'm working. Sometimes I'm not. It's very hard. So, it's just a lot to deal with, honey. Who you telling? She was like, it's just a lot to deal with. And, so anytime I get a chance to release, I do it. I take the opportunity to do that. Andy asked Marisol, because Mama Elsa told him that he probably would have a hard time finding true love. They showed that. Okay, did you see Andy, how young he was looking? And they were like, the story isn't over, Andy. The story isn't over. He was like, my life isn't over yet. So, we never know if Andy will find true love or whatever. It was time for Kiki to go. They got her a burger. And she was like, does it have cheese on it? Cheese from the broiler? She said something like that. And then as she was leaving, Julia says, Kiki, I wanted to say something. The burger actually just reminded me. She said, I wanted to say something, about the video shoot, and how I didn't invite you to the house the next day. Remember, Julia didn't invite her because at Adriana's video shoot, Kiki said that if I see any of my face or my image in this video, I'm gonna sue you. So she said, she kind of was just like, oh my God, that's what Julia said. And so she said she does regret not inviting her to her house, and she apologized, and they got up and gave each other hugs. And then she says, you can make it up to me by me, you, and Martina going on a date. So that was cute. They talked about Gertie being in Bride Magazine's top wedding planners. She's also the top 100 global wedding planners. And he asked her, what's the most extravagant wedding you've done? She said she had one wedding with a $2 million budget for flowers. I said, bitch, Gertie do not play, honey. And she says she's gone down from doing 15 weddings a year to 5 weddings a year. Because when Russell said to her about spending time with the family, she said she listened to him, and she says now it's quality over quantity, and that she really listened to Russell. And she says, they're having date nights. She's doing date nights with the boys too, taking them out individually. It's good. Take them out individually, take them out together, but definitely have your individual time with them. So that's good for Gertie. She said at the end that she was able, because they asked them like, what's the best part of this season? And she was like, being able to see some blind spots that I had in my relationship. And so she was able to trying to fix that with her and Russell. So shout out to them. Adriana, Marisol, and Alexia, their relationship, they get on their relationship and how long they've been in a relationship with each other, how long they've been friends. They showed clips of Adriana getting married and how happy Alexia and Marisol were for her. And it was so cute. It was so touching. And they were just looking, even Marisol's emotional. She was crying. Not Alexia, Regina George, she was like this. No, stone face, okay? Adriana was crying, and she said, Andy asked her, Marisol, I saw, you got a little teary, during the package or whatever, and she was like, yeah, because I loved Adriana, I loved her, and it says I did not like how she sat up there and told me that she had contact with my ex-boyfriend and that he told her he never loved me. And you like said it multiple times, and like, why would you, if we're friends, why would you do that? I'm telling you, I wish Adriana would just be honest and tell them, y'all say some mean things to me and I was trying to say something mean to you back. And that's just what it is. Like, I feel like that's what it was. I don't feel like every single time Adriana goes off and says something, to the left, that she's in a, some kind of altered state of awareness, the way that they were making it seem how she was about the Frankie situation. I was like, what? They were like, she was not there. It looked like she was having a nervous breakdown, but she was mad. So I don't know. Like I wish, I feel like she's not being completely honest with them in that way. Um, she says, I regret saying it. And then they asked Larsa, why did you feel the need to go back and tell Alexia and them what Adriana was saying when y'all were getting massages in the Bahamas? And she was like, because she was calling her a bitch. She was saying a lot of things about her and she needed to know. So that's why I told her. She was like, it just feels like we don't know who you are. And then Alexia called Adriana a fake and a fraud. She was like, you're a fake and a fraud. And then they get on the Frankie situation. They get on the Frankie situation and how she compared her foot injury to Frankie. And then Alexia is asking her, why do you say things like that create pain? And I would ask Alexia the same thing. Why do you say things to people? Do you think that what you just said to Lisa about her husband, if she thought she was a star, she wouldn't have let her husband do that to her? Do you think that created pain for her? So why do you say things that create pain? Why? Why? She said, and the way she apologized, remember she sent her a text and said, my bad. I said, girl, that is not an apology. Because I'm trying to tell y'all, she was saying it to be mean. She was like, I love Frankie. I love Peter. She was really crying. Gertie was like, she was really sad. She really wants to be y'all friends again. She does. And then they were both, like, well, maybe we can get past it or whatever. I don't think Alexia is going to get past it. Marisol probably will. But Alexia is probably going to keep her distance. I just feel like that. Like, because Julia was sitting there like quiet because, she always sticks up for Adriana. And they were like, well, Julia, what did you think about the apology? She was like, no, those things didn't land well. They didn't land well. And I don't agree with that. And then Julia made this reference, and I was with Larsa. She made this reference that all of them have partners, all of them are in relationships, and Adriana is the only one who doesn't have a man, and she's single, and she's in a dark place. And it's just like, so Adriana has this thing that she's going to be one of those women her whole life looking for the love of her life when she could just look in the mirror. Let me tell you something. Let's see how Alexia. Let's see. And I need to get to Adriana. What's Adriana's last name? Adriana Demora. '57. She's 57 years old. She's almost 60 years old, and she's still trekking the tundra looking for. And even Julia like made it seem like she's such in a dark place because she doesn't have. And Larsa was like, what is this about a man? What, this doesn't even make sense. She was like, what does that have anything to do? She doesn't have a man? What? But they all say crazy things to each other. That's the thing. You can't act like, yeah, she was born in 1965. You cannot act like she's saying these mean things and saying things so far off to the left because she's lonely. Girl, that don't even make sense. They were like, she's in a dark place. And then Alexia and Marisol are basically telling Adriana, you're dark. You just become this dark person. Adriana said to Marisol, she was like, you're unwell, Marisol. You're unwell. I even have this letter, girl. She brings this letter out. I received a letter from someone, and she brings this letter out. And this is what the fuck they talking about. She brings this letter out. She gives it to Andy. Andy is reading this letter off saying, I'm being abused by Marisol every morning. I'm afraid that if I say something, that will be the end of me or something like that. Sincerely, Marisol's liver. And talked about how Alexia enables Marisol with her drinking. Marisol, even in Thailand, her stomach was hurting all the time. The medic said that she probably had an ulcer. She drinks screwdrivers all the time, vodka and orange juice, vodka and orange juice, vodka, orange juice, and very little. Like she just wants a splash and one ice cube, honey, and it's just vodka, 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 and that's a chemical that her body is probably used to, but it's alcoholism. I don't care what you say, no matter if you're a happy drunk, no matter if you are a mean drunk, you are a functioning alcoholic. That's all that Marisol is a functioning alcoholic. And the letter was off color. It was not the best timing. Even Andy was like, "Do you think that this letter?" He was like, "I don't even want to ask you, is there a way to mend? Because after reading this letter, I don't know how it's a bad time." And he says, "But I'll tell you one thing, I'm keeping this letter. It's probably going in the clubhouse." Um, it was just weird. He's like, he's reading this letter and saying somebody's being abused by Marisol, signed Marisol's liver. I was like, girl, this is a mess. And then gave her a list of AA facilities or rehab facilities. I was like, that's what they talking about. She was like, it was a joke. Not, it's the timing. You don't understand. You guys are in the middle of you apologizing, telling them you want to be friends with them again. Let's mend our relationship. And then you come out with this letter. Girl, no, not right now. And I just saw a TMZ from I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Alexia said her and Adriana are still not speaking. Andy said he's keeping the letter. Alexia, how are you with letting go of Peter and Frankie? They said it's a cultural thing, and everybody went around talking about how many times their mother calls them a day and all of these things. Nicole said the same thing. Adriana said the same thing. Marisol said the same thing. Marisol said Mama Elsa would call her. She wouldn't answer the phone. She would call Alexia. Alexia would call Marisol. Marisol, you better call your mother. Your mother's calling me now. Like, it's a lot. I don't like it. I don't like it. But letting go of her son, she said she really, the show basically, introduced her, or they got in contact with her because of the show. They saw them on the show, got in contact. The Demoya Foundation got in contact, and Frankie is going to start doing vocational rehab, so he can, start working, and he doesn't have to, depend on his mom like that. And Andy got choked up when he was like, I saw it when he was saying that it was scary for him to take a Uber. And Andy was getting choked up, honey. It looked like Andy was about to cry, child. And he was like, yeah, he's getting better. They're gonna help him. They're gonna help him live independently of his mom. And I think it's great. I think it's great. When they introduced that foundation, I was like, yes, we love to see it, because we already know how she is, and she would have him with her all the time, but he needs to learn how to live independently, right? He needs to learn how to live independently. How did you feel about seeing Peter saying that he wanted to move to Puerto Rico because of you? She was like, it really hurt. It really hurt my feelings. But she was glad that he broke up with his girlfriend. It really hurt her feelings that her son wanted to leave. She's just gonna have to learn how to let go of them, and that's just what it is. Say something nice about each other and stop bringing up the past. Marisol was telling Adriana how she loved her, and like I said, I think Marisol is gonna go back. But I didn't like the fact that Adriana said even your mother liked me. Girl, don't do that. See, that kind of stuff. It just ugh. It's like, don't do stuff like that. Even your mother liked me. Her mother gave her veil to wear for Adriana's wedding. Yeah, they show when they went on the Thailand episodes, they show pictures of Mama Elsa before she started messing with her face. Beautiful. So, I mean, like, she said that people would stop her mom on the street because they thought she was Sophia Loren. Like, she looked so beautiful. And she tells a story on why her mom's face got the way it did. So, y'all got to go watch it on there. They said something nice about each other. What's the most positive thing that you got out of the season? Larsa says, I'm happy. I'm in my own space. I can do what I want. I'm doing me, basically. Alexia said the best thing for her was that Frankie is getting help to start his vocational rehab things. Marisol says this experience. She's like, I love my job. I love this experience. I love, we get on each other's nerves, but I love all of you. Gertie, what was the best thing about the season for you? The most positive thing about the season? She says, just making up and seeing where my blind spots were in my relationship and being able to try to, working on fixing those with her and her husband. Adriana, the new music. Martina and Julia. Julia said it's Martina, and hopefully they can fight this cancer. And Nicole said the journey with her father. She says she probably would have never done it if it wasn't for the show. And then Lisa says that finding out who Lenny really was and glad she didn't find out later. Like I said, you knew who that man was. Like I said, you knew who that man was. I know sometimes people are like, I didn't, the people show me something different, but she said, I'm glad that I didn't spend, another 10 years just to find out who he was and waste more 10 years of, but she has a boyfriend now. He was in the back, honey. And then they give a toast. Larsa gives a toast. I forgot what Larsa said, but that was the end of the episode. Y'all let me know what you think. Um, I thought it was a great season. I can't wait to the next season, and take care of each other. Protect your energy. Peace.